Rice Street Lumber. Visit their new design center for great ideas in doors, windows, cabinets, and floors. Weber Harris Ford Lincoln Mercury, satisfying customers for over 34 years. Oakland Beach Golf Club, an 18-hole championship layout with full-service bar and restaurant, open to the public. And by Meadville Master Antenna, inviting golfers 50 and older to join us for the MMA Cable Senior Classic, August 5th.
Welcome back to Allegheny College. 4 innings complete. Gators holding a 4-0 lead as we head into the top of the 5th inning over Wooster. 2 runs in the 3rd, 2 more in the 4th for Allegheny. Giving Chris Nelson plenty of room to operate here in the 5th. And we have all kinds of spectators. Nelson continues his warm-ups. 5th inning, Steve, for Wooster coming up. It's right now a situation where they have to start mustering something offensively.
And they have just the men coming up to do it. Hagen, Vinchler, and Palm. Both Vinchler and Hagen among the leaders in the North Coast Athletic Conference right now in batting. In fact, Vinchler should have taken over the lead from Steve Cook of Allegheny with his performance yesterday. Of what's he batting up? About 500. A little bit above 500. Cook slipped down to about 471. Those two, Cook and Vinchler, have been neck and neck all season, really. As far as batting average goes, Cook far ahead of him in many other offensive categories. So.
Nice scenario, though, when you can say you slipped down to 471.
Tough problem to have, huh?
I can think of that's 600 major leaguers that wouldn't mind doing that. There's a called strike to the leadoff hitter, Eric Hagen. He's 0 for 1 in this game. Entered the contest hitting at a 407 clip. Fouls that one back to quickly fall in the hole 0-2.
Oh, we've seen all day Chris Nelson stay ahead or at least even in the count. That's obviously to his favor. He leads the team in one category he doesn't want to lead Allegheny, and that with being walks at 19. He did have some control problems earlier in the season, but it seems as he's progressed, every game he's gotten stronger and stronger in terms of control.
Yeah, that's something that just cannot be understated. Be it in minor league, major league, or college baseball, staying ahead in the counts. There's one to waste, and he does just that outside 1 and 2. Crucial aspect of the game that oftentimes is disregarded. How many times do you see leadoff walks and the like really come back to haunt you? There's a 1-2 pitch that's driven into right field and booted by Malagese. Ball gets by him, and Wooster, the beneficiary of a 2-base error here to lead off the 5th inning. So Eric Hagen is hitting a routine fly ball into right field that Malagese is unable to come up with. The first error of the afternoon for Allegheny. Puts Wooster in an opportunity now to get on the scoreboard. They send Matt Vinchler to the plate. Steve told you moments ago he's hitting over 500, leading the entire conference in hitting. Up right now with a teammate aboard at second base. Nelson glances back that way. The pitch to Vinchler is in there for a called strike.
Talk about a surprise for you, the College of Wooster. Matt Vinchler, as a sophomore, batted .285 for the season. He's now over 500 as a junior.
Definite maturity, experience, all factors. Part of what has turned into a great season for Matt Vinchler. You see him there, not a big guy, 5'10", 160 pounds. You can see him somewhat choking up on the stick. And he steps in with an 0-1 count. Nelson glanced back to second. Pitch on the way is in there, a called strike. It's 0-2.
I think Vinchler was a bit surprised by that. He expected that to be called a ball high. Nelson, however, got to break over the plate and through the strike zone.
This is really a situation that has the hitter guessing. 0-2. 2 off-speed pitches in there for strikes. Let's see if he comes back with the heat. He does outside for ball 1, 1-2. Reinhardt, the backstop for Chris Nelson. Eric Hagan at second. Nobody out. Two-base error by Craig Malagese opened this frame and possibly a scoring chance for Wooster. They trail at 4-0 in the top of the 5th inning. Nelson's pitch, that is fouled off the plates. The count will hold at 1-2. Vinsler out of Springdale, Pennsylvania. And there you see Craig Nelson.
It's a good shot there of the close-up of Chris Nelson of the bulky knee brace which he is wearing on that left knee as a result of that injury sustained last fall playing pickup basketball.
Chris Nelson's 1-2 is driven into right at Malagese again. This time he comes up with the ball. Holding at second is Eric Hagan. So basically the same scenario. That was hit a little sharper by Vinsler, but Malagese able to come up with the play this time.
There's a
him
gut
out there, has to be thinking about that last play.
I was going to say, there's a cut check for you immediately after you make an error on an easier play. There's a line drive right at you. Fortunately for Craig Malagese, it was basically right at him. He didn't have to move much this time he makes the play.
There you see a determined Chris Nelson getting the sign from Greg Reinhardt. Stepping out for a moment is Matt Palm, designated hitter this afternoon. Palm on the day, 0 for 1, grounded out in the 2nd inning. Wooster with their best scoring opportunity, a two-base error to open up this inning. Currently has Eric Hagan at second, now with 1 out. The pitch to Palm, swung on and a grounder back to the mound. Nelson checks his man at second, throws to first, and quickly there are 2 outs in the 5th inning. After being burned by some bad defense by teammate Craig Malagese, Chris Nelson trying to get out of this situation on his own.
Well, Chris has continued to do a fine job of keeping the ball down in the strike zone there. He got the ground ball there right back at him. Just an easy play for him to step and throw over to first base.
His catcher, Mark McKinney. Again, now 2 outs, and the runner still at second base for Wooster. McKinney fouls that one off. Singled his last time up. That was the 3rd inning. 1 of 3 Wooster base knocks. Game's seen 3 errors. One of them contributing to 2 Allegheny runs. The lone Gator misplay still possibly on the board as Eric Hagan continues to lead from second base.
Mark McKinney batting .297 on the season. He's a guy who's more known for his defensive work. He was a second-team all-conference pick last year. That's really for his defensive work. Got a very strong arm. In fact, threw out Mike Penn yesterday at second. Penn, of course, Allegheny's leading base stealer this year.
Swings through that baseball. The count to go 0-2 is Chris Nelson. Once again, Steve ahead in the count.
Which gives him the luxury of maybe being able to waste a few pitches now, work around Mark McKinney, try and come up with a ground ball for out number 3.
It's a sign from Greg Reinhardt. So look back to second. Pitch is on the way. Outside, which is right where Reinhardt wanted the baseball. Doesn't get the call. It's 1-2. 2 outs, top of the 5th. Wooster trails at 4-0. The man in scoring position. 2 strikes, and there's a called strike 3 on Mark McKinney to end the inning. So a great job of pitching by Chris Nelson, who leaves the hill very pleased with himself, as well he should be. We've played 4.5. It's Allegheny 4, Wooster nothing. You're watching Allegheny College Baseball on CTV 13.
Today's game is brought to you by PNC Bank, proud to sponsor today's game and wishing the Gators best of luck. Alltel, the right people, the right company, keeping you in touch. Griffin Motors, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle, serving Crawford County for over 70 years. The whole darn thing sub shops of Meadville and Conneaut Lake, home of the Super Sub, says, go get 'em Gators. Digital Music Express, DMX does for your stereo what cable does for your TV.
Now moving to the bottom of the 5th inning, and that really tells the story. Allegheny with 4 runs, 2 each in the 3rd and 4th innings. Wooster, a couple scoring opportunities, but nothing major. Started the top of this inning with a leadoff 2-base error, which you see on the board as well. Allegheny's lone miscue of the contest.
Number 5.
They were unable to plate Eric Hagan as we move to the bottom of the 5th. Nick Donatelli, Worcester's pitcher. 6 strikeouts on the afternoon. Gets set to face third baseman Steve Cook. There's a strike called. Cook 0 for 2. Reached base in the 3rd thanks to an Eric Hagan error. Oh, 1 the count to Cook. Donatelli's pitch swung on and driven into left field. Charging is Tomlinson, going back on it Vinsler, and the shortstop will make the play for out number 1.
Almost very unusual to see Steve Cook go 0 for 3. You're so accustomed to seeing him come up with consistent offensive performances. Obviously, in a 21-game hitting streak, you're going to see a hit sooner or later. 0 for 3 today, struggling a bit with Donatelli.
Starting to see some rumblings down the left field line of Wooster possibly getting set to start warming some pitchers up. This is Joe Rine, the first baseman. That's a check swing, hit down the first base line and out of play, just out of the reach of Chris Singolani. So just a strike for Joe Rine. Step back up with an 0-1 count here in the 5th. His Gators leading 4-0. Rine is 0 for 2 today. Rine recollects and is back in the box. 5 hits on the afternoon for the Gators. There's the ball up high by Donatelli. You got to think, Steve, we probably will not see Nick Donatelli for much more than through the next inning, which would be the 6th.
Obviously, Tim Petterini's plan is to get 5, maybe 6 innings out of his freshman, then hand the ball over to someone coming out of the bullpen.
Donatelli has only gone 21 innings this entire season. That's in 7 appearances. There's a ball down low for a 3-run count to Joe Rine. Donatelli making his 3rd start of the campaign. As we stated, averaging only 3 innings per outing. And there's ball 4 to Joe Rine. So Rine on base for the first time.
Number 24, shortstop, Chuck Barnaby.
2nd walk given up this afternoon by Nick Donatelli.
We really did expect to see John Ramby pitch for the Scots today. He has pitched about 31.6 innings, a 4-2 record on the season. He was the projected 3rd starter for them today, but instead Donatelli getting the call.
Runner is going. There's a swing and a miss. Throw down to second base, and Joe Rine is safe. As second baseman Jim Warga unable to handle the throw. Looks like the ball was ahead of Joe Rine via Mark McKinney on the toss down to second, but instead Rine beats the wrap thanks to the drop ball at second base.
Joe Rine, not the quickest player in Allegheny by any means. He's stolen now 4 of 5 bases on the season. A bit unusual to see him going, but that's Rick Korean style. He's a gambling type of coach, willing to send any player. He has that much confidence in his players that they can do the job.
That was not a straight steal. It was a hit and run as Hardeby fouls that one back to go 0-2. 6-foot senior now with a chance to drive home a run with the runner in scoring position. 1 out here in the 5th inning. Allegheny 4, Wooster nothing. Hardeby with an 0-2 count. Donatelli looks back at Rine. The pitch in the dirt, and that gets by.